Over the years, I created films like Speak, Unspoken, and Scarred, stories that don't look away from pain, but don't leave you there either. Because I don't believe in stories that hurt people. I believe in stories that hold them. Everything I create comes from lived experience, and that is what makes this so different. Stay started as something deeply personal. It came from the kind of love that changes you, the kind that stays with you even when everything else falls apart. Not perfect love, not easy love, real love. The kind of love that asks, do I leave or do I stay? Stay follows two people navigating love, grief, and the moments that decide whether we fall apart or fight to stay. Stay isn't just one film. It's the beginning of a 25-part story about love, loss, and what it means to keep going. This is where it all begins. We are ready to film now. We have the cast, we have the crew, we have the script, we have almost everything that we need. But right now, we really need some funds to get us the rest of the way there. And your support directly supports paying cast and crew fairly, feeding cast and crew, lodging cast and crew, and even just simply creating a film that looks and feels as powerful as the story behind it. If we don't reach our goal, the story waits. Or worse, it never gets told the way that it's meant to. Your support decides whether this story exists at all. When you join this project, you're not just supporting a film. You are stepping into the process with us. You'll get exclusive access, behind the scenes content, and even your name on the story that you helped bring to life. You don't have to have lived this exact story to understand what it means to be human, to love someone, to lose someone, to wonder if you are going to be okay. Stories like this remind us that we aren't alone, and that matters now more than ever. If you believe in stories that connect people, and you believe that independent voices deserve to be heard, then I'm inviting you to join us. Join this project today. Share it with someone who needs it, and help us bring Stay to life. Be a part of this story before it ever hits the screen.
But no one tells you how loud silence gets when someone's gone.
Good. How are you? No. No.
No.
Yes.
Come on.
I've never approached a person that I've looked across the room and locked eyes with and found interesting. And because I was just too nervous to ever just tell someone I was interested in them or that I thought they were interesting or to go up and speak with them. And so if I wasn't pursued, I've never I've never had a relationship where I wasn't pursued. So I think I've missed out on many opportunities.
I think too that sometimes we let our perceptions of ourselves dictate how we think somebody else might feel about us. So I've like later found out that someone I've been interested in has been interested in me, and I just thought that they wouldn't be, you know?
Absolutely. I married him. Uh, so Maya was 5, and I met this amazing guy who coached kids. But he was scarred and broken. His best friend had cheated on him with his wife had cheated on him with each other. And so he immersed himself in coaching and staying busy. And so at the dinner tables, I mean, he was, I prayed, for like after a divorce for, to God to send me, like, let me experience somebody what's unconditional love, right? I want to know what that's like. Is there such a thing? And this man was definitely capable of that, and I saw that, and I experienced it with him. However, he wasn't ready because he wasn't over the hurt that he had gone through and the betrayal. And so, in the middle of dinner, when there's a phone call, he would take for a random help a neighbor with a broken fence. And I didn't, that wasn't okay with me. And that wasn't what I wanted to be okay for my kids and our family. And I felt like he wasn't ready. And so he would just stick around and always be helpful. And I realized it was just cock blocking, right? So no one else could have a chance, right? And so remaining friends. And then I realized I had to cut it off. Well, that was about 2008. And we ran into each other again and never spoke to him again, never saw him again. And it was on amicable terms. And we ran into each other
Jesus
again,
fucking Christ.
eyes locked, and it was like the moment had come full circle. Our kids were all grown, and he had healed. He had never dated a woman and been with anyone else in between since we had broken up. He's much older than me. And we ended up marrying. And we married within 2 years. And we had an amazing 7 years together until we recently got divorced last year. But I believe it's because of the age gap. He has a lot of issues with. He wants me to wear a muumuu, and he's uncomfortable with younger men coming to help unload the groceries or help him unload the groceries while we're together at the grocery store because they think maybe he's my dad. And so, and they'll say, "Hey, sir, do you want me to take your cart?" And then they'll look at me and wink or whatever. And instead of him like smiling and thinking it's funny, it actually agitates him. And so I think he built a little resentment towards me instead of being emotionally mature about it. I think he couldn't overcome it and felt jealous. And I felt like he was constantly clipping a little piece of my wings, wanting me to conform to being less seen. And so we had to let each other go so that we wouldn't resent and dislike and hate each other.
That's a great story. It's a great account. Thank you for sharing that. That was great to hear.
Thank you. I have a little bird story I made up that I had to explain to him, and I've told it to people, and they've literally cried. And I'm like, oh my God. So Landon, I'll have to share that story with you someday.
I think I'm okay.
I'd love to speak on this one. I wholeheartedly believe that we have more than one soulmate. And I think that there is so much space for soulmates and for love that they don't just have to be romantic as well. Like, I tell my two best friends all the time, like, that they're my soulmates. You know, I love them so much. And obviously, other than having like a romantic relationship, it's exactly the same. You know, like, I love them, I take care of them, you know, they do the same for me, they pour into me. And also, even in romantic relationships, I feel like I have had more than one soulmate. Like, I feel like some of the relationships I've been in before, maybe some of them were my soulmates. And um even now, like, I'm in a relationship with two people, we're in a throuple. So I feel like there's definitely like space for there to be more than one soulmate in your life.
I think that I've only had one. I've only felt one soulmate, and that's the person that I was talking about earlier. And even up until the moment where from the moment we met to the moment that it ended, even when we would just simply hug, you could feel a dizziness, right? A dizziness, almost like a floating feeling. It was weird after so many years because you're not in that lust stage, you're not in the honeymoon stage. It's almost like the souls are so in line that they are almost trying to merge, and it feels so almost uncomfortable that you want to separate. But I believe that um, if if it wasn't meant to work out, then there's absolutely meant to be someone else out there for me to experience that with, that I can have that with. I think it's about be changing my outlook and being more brave, and maybe approaching someone someday that I find interesting. What about you answering some of those questions for us so we know what you think about them?
Ooh.
Okay. I really want to know about the soulmate one. Right. Are we allowed to ask a question? Okay. So, I have only experienced intimate relationships that have all been based on never physicality first. That's not my first. It's someone's mind. It's our conversation. That's what I fall in love with is my interactions, our chemistry, not even sexually, just being like this amazing human, right? And genuinely being who they are, and me just in awe of their values and their character and their, all of that. And that's what makes them sexy and attractive to me. Not like my friends when they're like, "Oh my God, his bod, he has a hot bod." I've never felt that way, right? So you tend to see me with a mismatched guy, as some people would say, but I think he's absolutely gorgeous and sexy to me, right? And so I wonder, like, how's everyone else? How are your connections built?
What a wonderful question. How are connections built?
For you?
Mm, I do agree that it does come from your mind and not necessarily common interests, but I think being curious and staying curious about another person and being able
Yeah,
to ask, being able to chat and ask them questions. And I think that it counts, like, yes, with your partner, but also just in general. I think people that are genuinely curious about others, yeah, they might have a partner, but they're also just very easy to talk to and want to find what's beneath the surface with other people. So
I love that answer.
I think that's,
Yeah.
well, I think that's it for me.
So
And
not just in love, but in life with all your relationships. I think I agree. Yeah, that's the people that I keep closest.
yeah, and then if it grows, it grows.
Yeah, I love that.
Love languages. I love talking about that stuff. Oh my gosh, let's all share ours. Sorry to interrupt you. No, you said yours. You were in the middle of your thought. You said that uh, yours was physical touch
Physical
and
touch
quality time.
and quality time, yeah.
That's awesome.
So Natasha, what's yours? Who have you
Um,
been receiving?
I
What do you think?
think I think that okay, this makes me sound like a brat. I love gifts. And
Me too.
it's not getting the thing. It's not about the thing. It's like, oh, we weren't together, you saw that and thought of me. Like it could be like a stick or a rock or like a sticker or like something like that. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I think it genuinely makes me happy because I'm like, oh, that reminds you of me and like you thought of it and you're giving it to like took the time to do that. I think it means more. And that's pretty meaningful. I also think words of affirmation, I enjoy that mainly because I'm a very insecure person just all around. And I think like pointing, it's very easy to be critical. And I think like being able to like dial in and listen to what someone's saying. I mean, like, not fluffy things, but words of substance, not like, you're awesome or whatever. But like really appreciating that and knowing that about yourself, that someone thinks that about you is it's hard to accept that sometimes, but I think that's how I give and receive love. Um, I think so. Yeah.
So mine would be, I love physical touch. Oh, I just, yes, like to receive, um, and more than I like to give. Like sexually, I love to give, right? But I'm talking about just playing with my hair or just, petting me. I mean, just like I mean, till my skin fell off, probably, right? Um, um, but I mean, just love it, right? But and I'm a little brattier than you because I don't want the rock or the stick. I do. um,
That's great.
because I can buy myself. I usually am the person that buys everything that I want for myself, right? So when somebody surprises me with something that I would buy for myself, or like I'm just saying, like I'm not a purse girl. I'm a tennis shoe girl. I really am a tomboy. But I think it's the surprise, like you said. And so I love to receive gifts, and quality time is definitely one of my love languages because every moment that I spend with someone, they have my undivided attention, and I'm not thinking about somewhere else, and I'm not looking at somewhere else. I'm literally making sure that they know I am plugged in and that they have all of me. And so acts of service is one of my strengths. Is I love to give acts of service. So anything that I can do to make my partner or my friends' lives easier, I'm just great at. And so I can pick up on those. So, and I know that that is maybe not something that somebody would speak and even understand about their own love language, but then when it happens to them, they're like, whoa, like it just happens naturally, right? So that's mine.
So wonderful.
That's so cute. We kind of have the same.
Really?
Yeah, right. um, that's why we get along so well. I think because we show love in a lot of the same ways. I would say that I give and receive love very much so as an acts of service type of person. Um, like kind of like you were saying with the gift giving, like just the consideration of taking something off of my plate or taking something off of somebody's plate or just making their day a little bit easier or just making them feel like they're not alone. I feel like is so impactful, but also, yeah, physical touch for me as well. But it is something that sometimes I can like struggle with initially when I connect with people. Um, like, I'll give people a hug or whatever, but like past that, it kind of takes a while to develop that like trust.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's of service for sure. That's why your laundry's in the washer.
I know. I saw that. She's the
Did you?
sweetest,
I
guys.
love that.
I did it when you were sleeping.
No, she knows how to long the night. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Same. It's just like literally like a physical reaching out, like a
I love
actual.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a hugger. I'm just very much a touchy-feely person. So yes, like if you touched my shoulder and I'd probably turn around and I'd be like, "Hey," and I'd hug you. Just
Yeah.
because, yes, like I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Consent
But I
is
know how to
key.
get
You
that eye
gotta
contact
ask.
too. Yeah, you know how to give that eye contact. Yeah. That's where you just don't make eye contact. Oh my God. Right, right,
Hey,
right, right,
even
That
even
part.
better.
Yep.
right. Right,
Enthusiastically.
right.
Yeah.
Verbal touch.
Absolutely, I think so. Um, I think in general and with the character also. Um, like for example, I think with Marie in the beginning, uh, or maybe halfway through, um, she like shuts Bo down after spending the night together, and she's like, he's saying something along the lines of like, why can't you just acknowledge it? And then he's like, Marie says, well, if I acknowledge it, it makes it real. And it's like, okay, um, definitely fear, definitely avoiding, and um, yeah, I think that's also how I think I miss out on a lot of opportunities too. So anxious, so nervous. I'm medicated for anxiety,
Yeah.
and um, I'm thinking about like you guys talking about physical touch and like talking with your hand on my shoulder, and I'm like, but then I would think, what if you think I smell? What if my breath smells bad? Or what if I start profusely sweating and then you're like, ew, she's gross. I'm like all these thoughts are going through my head and I'm like, ah, don't touch me.
Really?
And yes,
Oh,
and I think about, yeah, and I think like in a group of people, like with you guys, it's like we more or less know each other. We've shared so many things. It's like I wouldn't be shy necessarily, but like out in public with a group of people, I'm like I'm not saying a word. I like in high school didn't really talk, and I'm also really uh just a little quiet, on the more quiet side, unless I know you, and then chatterbox. Yes, yes. It's so easy. So easy to just chat, and then 30 minutes pass.
it's great though. Right,
Mm.
right.
Um, if I'm remembering correctly, in the book, I think it took him, well, he put himself out there and then got shut down. And then, like, they stopped going to the cafe together. They didn't hang out and eat popcorn and watch TV. But it wasn't until, like, after his accident. So why do you think Bo waited? I mean, out of fear until really he had a near-death experience. um, like his life flashing before his eyes and him seeing his dad and being like having this moment of like, you need to tell her. And it's like, what if? And it's like, actually, just just tell her. I mean, it's not worth the fear. And I think that sometimes I also think that like I can be bold and out there if I truly believe something. But not my default setting for sure.
I think a lot of men in general, don't like they don't say a lot of things, or people in general. I think there's people that hold a lot in. I'm a person that I like to resolve any kind of uncomfortability, any kind of thing I want to work through. I want to say, hey, you're safe, you're safe with me. I know, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to help get through the situation so we don't end up not having that popcorn together and not watching that movie, right? So I like to speak about those things. And so I like to help my partner do the same thing. And so I'll bring up the tough issues because it actually brings me more anxiety knowing that I can pick up on emotions, right? And so I want to give them reassurance that your feelings are valid and let me be there for you, right? This is real. And so, but I think a lot of people, and I know Maya is one of them. Maya is a person where she tends to bottle up, right? And where me, I will bring things up um, in such, I'll try to make it, I won't try to sugarcoat it, but I'll try to make it in a way like we're a team. Like, let's talk about it right as it's happening. Because if we can deal with everything as it happens, then we can continue to strengthen our relationship to keep it from falling apart.
Totally, girl. I was just gonna say like I'm an anxious avoidant person. Like, mhm.
Yard tag.
Yes. So she has helped me so much with that. Just, I mean, I am the type of person who will absolutely the same as you notice kind of the shift in the energy and notice the different emotions going on. And my thing is, I start to get anxious of all the what ifs. What if they hate me? What if they, whatever. And so a lot of times I do tend to just internalize a lot of that and try to figure it out on my own. And so I'm thinking maybe like that's part of the reason why he did wait so long, is because everything that I have seen from Marie, she has a lot of like really complex emotions. And, I think that sometimes if you're someone that's like me, that's a little bit anxious, avoidant, it's kind of hard to come to someone and tackle those really big emotions and big problems, especially if you feel that turmoil within yourself of like, oh my gosh, I have all these big emotions and you have all these big emotions, and I don't really know how to communicate how I'm feeling, and I don't know how you're feeling, and it can be kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one experience I had with Maya was I would say I would tell her, I would just talk to her about general things, and then she would shut down, and I would say, listen, conflict is good. Healthy conflict is good. And if you can't have it with me, you'll never be able to have it with anyone. So I'm
And you're
your
so
best
right.
practice person. So we're going to have it. Let's have it. And we worked on it. And so because the conflict is known as this bad thing, it's always known as this bad thing, and it's not. The conflict actually, most of it can lead to resolution. And so I think that there are more many people like you guys than there are, and like Bo, right? And like Marie. And then maybe, but I fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm so impulsive that maybe I just go for it. And so, and I don't worry. I don't have the same. It's interesting to hear you guys talk about that, because I don't worry about how people think I smell, or how, what are they going to think about me, because like I'm a freaking butterfly, right? And a unicorn, you just can't see like it hanging here, right? And so I'm just different. And so I know, why would I worry about what somebody thinks about me when there's no one else like me? I don't know how to explain that.
Well, that's very well said. That's such a cool, um, what a wonderful thing
I'm weird,
to.
but it's a weird thing too. It's not like I'm overconfident. I just know I'm weird, and I'm weird in a great way to me, but I can't expect anyone else to know that.
It's it's so fun and so interesting too to learn about people that don't
Yeah,
have that worry, or it's like that's awesome, and to be able to learn different things. It's like for the impulsive
yeah,
person, it's like, yeah, maybe the tough part for you is taking a step back, or maybe not saying the thing, and like the thing that I need to work on is like
yeah.
actually opening my mouth or saying something,
Right.
or
I
like,
probably need to analyze more and not be, because I live in the moment. I live for today. I don't worry about so far in the future that I'm missing out on the person I'm with, and the surroundings, and the air, and the trees, and the life, right? That we all have to live, because it could all end tomorrow. And so, yes, I should be thinking more, but it's not like I'm doing anything harmful that prevents me from being that way. It's not in a dangerous way. It's just the way. I don't have FOMO. I'm glad, and I'm glad for analytical people, because they help keep us balanced, people like me.
yeah,
um,
I know. Thank
so it's
goodness.
like a good match. That's what I need. That is, all my partners have been analytical, some way too much. But I'm a good listener, and so I take that advice, and that's what balances us out.
Yes, oh my goodness. I think about if the world was filled with a bunch of Natashas. I'm like, that would be so boring. That'd be so boring.
And
Yeah.
if the world were filled with a bunch of Melanies, the world would be flying by the seat of our pants. We'd be like, we would be running around and skydive,
Chaos.
and no, there would be no order to the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, thank goodness we have other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that we can celebrate all of our uniqueness and that,
Yeah.
we
And
all need each other.
Maya is the rational
Hmm.
one in life. Like, so she's not the over analytical, but she's like there's the three different parts of us, and I'm sure with Landon, there's this other fourth piece. So we have Miss Rational, we have Melanie Maxwell, who live in the moment. We have our analytical Natasha, and what do we have in Landon?
Creativity, like a creative, like the vision caster, and then like we all play a part in like helping that come to life. Because if someone's visionary, one, it doesn't mean that they are great at carrying out the vision. I know that because I can be visionary. Um, and then I'm like, wait, how do I do this? I need help. Someone more analytical than me help me with this. But yeah, I think creativity for sure for Landon, and casting a vision. Okay, like this is what I want it to look like. But how do I go about this? Like, who are the people that are going to be on the ground with this?
Okay, so the inventor of ideas and the inventor, the creative vision behind things that makes us all be who we are and see the world the way that we can see it because of the things that are created because of people like Landon. So, all right, I get
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
One that immediately comes to my mind about the scary situations with the children. I became an aunt pretty young. Um, and then I kept being an aunt as my brother and my stepsister, and things have had children. So one day, it was probably the second or third time I had babysitted my niece, and she was, I think, right under one. I think she was maybe like 9 months or something like that. Um, my stepsisters have a cat, so I'm babysitting the baby and I'm with the cat. And I am allergic to cats, but I love them so much. So I'm petting him. We're, snuggling and just hanging out. And then I start rubbing my eyes and I
Oh
get welts
no.
all around my eyes. Like my eyes start closing dang near. Like, and I'm so scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this baby like in my care. I have no car seat for her. I don't even know if I can drive myself to the ER like in my condition that I'm in. So I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like I can't just like drive and like hold her and you know yeah, so I'm freaking out. So I'm like, okay, I'm searching the house. I'm like, oh my gosh, hopefully they have Benadryl because I'm just like, I've never really had to transport the kids in my life like that before. Like, I know how to, buckle them into the car seat, but I don't have one. So I'm freaking out. Luckily, I find some Benadryl. Yeah, luckily I find some Benadryl. I take like three. And then I'm like,
Yes.
okay, come on, we're gonna like take a nap and just lay down. And she's looking at me and she's just kind of pointing at my face, like, what's going on with your face? Like, But everything ended up being okay.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I kind of have a long-ish story about this. I think a couple of um, points came up. Like, part of the question was, do you ever worry about a kid or like been a part of a child getting hurt? Um, yeah, I think that I see that a lot in my classroom, and like a lot, like maybe 3 cases of abuse that have happened in my like 9 years of teaching, and I'm like, one is too much, but like it's wild how common it is, and I think that you don't stop worrying about it. Like when you come home, like, yeah, we're mandated reporters, we have to call it in, but then after the phone call, you still wonder. Um, and I work at a private school in Westerville. It's not super wealthy. It's just in the middle, and um, like thinking about like, okay, let's stock my classroom with snacks. Let's get extra baby wipes and extra clothes for kids that are gonna come in and not have shoes, or like who needs an extra backpack, and like uh, there's so many things. Remy, chill. My dog is starting to get all antsy. But no, I don't think stop worrying. I think because you love them so much. And yeah, I played a small part in like reporting what had happened to that child or a few kids, but um, it's really hard. It's hard not to blame yourself because you're with them for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you're like, oh, why didn't I notice this sooner? Or what if I did something a little bit sooner? Or could I have stopped them from getting this bruise or whatever?
And I'll speak to this story about have you ever taken full responsibility for something that wasn't your fault? So in my case, yes, with my ex-husband, um, who, because of the way he was able to manipulate me, and I actually had to have reconstructive surgery on, I was missing a complete breast from a rupture many, many, many years ago. And so I lived without one for so long. And so when I was able to afford reconstruction to have a second breast, if I could feel like a normal woman, right? Um, I just wanted just it to be to have two. That's all I wanted, just to have two. And for them, to be the same size before I had kids. And and he gaslit me so much and manipulated me so much that um I found myself constantly with a story with the bird. I had to explain to him that 20 years ago when I met you, um, you loved because this version and this is before that had happened. You're right. He wasn't even a part of my life when I lost my breast. And I said, and so I feel, and so over time he would say, really, you're going to wear that? And it's normal clothes that normal people wear, tank tops and shorts, no buns hanging out, no cleavage, right? And so, but because I trusted him and he was my person, I compromised, and he did it so smoothly, and I should have known better, but because I really want to show my partner that even if I disagree with how they feel, I'm willing to make small changes, right? And so without changing who I am, but what I didn't realize was I started, in the end, I felt like a bird who had the most beautiful feathers in the world. And in the end, They were clipped and I could no longer fly. And so what I had told him before we broke up is, I feel like you are a man who was a bird watcher 20 years ago. And you came to this remote island and country and you saw me flying in the forest. And I had yellow and purple and blue wings. And every season you would come to watch me. And I knew I was so fond that somebody would use their binoculars and come watch me for an entire, spend their vacation from America to come and watch me in the forest. And one day you were coming more often, and I didn't realize that you actually retired and purchased a home among the villagers so that you could build, be closer to this bird that you fell in love with. And so eventually I became so fond of you, the bird watcher, that one day I landed on your head. And so, and you just were in awe that you had earned that respect. And then the next time you came, the next day you started coming every day, and I landed on your shoulder. And we built such a bond together that eventually I would ride on your shoulder while you would take your walks back. And I figured out that you lived in the village. And then I would fly home, and then I'd see you the next day. And then one day you would tell me without telling me. You would leave your windows and your doors open, and so I would come and go freely to fly in the forest and come in and spend time and reciprocate, so he didn't have to come and see me every day. So when I wouldn't come, he would show up, right? And so we were bird human friends. And so, but I started to spend too much time in the village, in his home, out of my own element. And so I started staying gone longer and longer where I needed to be, where my wings were, and where my my birds were, and where I belonged. And so he ended up building this massive bird cage, and he trapped me in his bird cage in his home, and would let me out, but he would keep the windows and the doors shut. And so I stopped eating and my feathers started falling out. And so the very reason that you came to visit me and fall in love with me is the very thing that you are trying to keep me and control me and change me, and have forgotten the reason that you fell in love with me just the way that I was. And had I not found a way to escape, I would have died. And so I had to find a way one day to gain his trust. And he let me out, and he left the door or the window cracked, and I flew away back into the forest. And it took months. Took a whole season, but my feathers grew back, and I was able to become me again. And that is the story of truly who the journey that I'm going through right now in life.
That's so wonderful. That's a
Now
wonderful
you know my bird story.
comparison. Well, it's a great metaphor too of just so many things, but your life specifically, it's like very concrete that people can picture in their head.
I'm a very visual person, I guess. See, Landon, I told you.
There you
I
go.
told only two people, and I said I need to somehow lock this story in so no one can steal it. And this really, I only told the story a month ago.
Oh, no
Yeah, I
way.
wasn't divorced until late last year. Yeah. You got to write about it, Landon.
Yeah.
I would give it to no one other than you.
Oh.
Truthfully. Yeah. I had to be a caregiver for a non-blood relative with a house full of people that just weren't taking care of her. And so she had a J tube. And so I had to use the powder to blend it, and the nurse taught me how to bolus it into the J tube. And when she was hospitalized in the end, I called my mom and I was only 19. And I said, Mom, no one showed up. What do I do? And she said, Melanie, you need to give her permission to go. And I said, I don't know how to do that. I was crying. And so I said, Aunt Cheryl, I love you and I don't want you to suffer. And if you're suffering, don't live because you feel like you need to take care of everyone. Please, uh, please let go. It's okay to let go. And you have done enough for everyone. And I thank you for every day that you've ever given me and everyone else, and all of the love, the unconditional love that I felt from you in the very short time that I've got to spend with you. And she mouthed the words, I love you, and she died. And for me, taking care of her, being sick is much easier because I tend to retreat when I'm sick than watching someone else go through it, for sure.
Yeah, I think this is a good question. Um, I my family, addiction runs in my family, and when I was like 14, I'm the oldest of the three girls, and when I was 14, I had a knee surgery, and they gave me like way too much pain medication, like 2 weeks worth of uh, Oxy, 2 weeks worth of Percocet, and um, I took probably two, and then they fell behind my bed, and I didn't. I was 14 at the time, or 15, and I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I'm a kid. I'm not thinking about it. They fell behind my bed. My sister got a hold of them and became addicted. She was younger than me. I think she was like 14 or so, and she has been ever since. It graduated to bigger and bigger substances, but yeah, there were so many new experiences that addiction brought. I would like drive through the streets at night looking for her because she went on a bender and I couldn't find her, and then saw her, you know, in not great shape and doing stuff that she probably didn't want to do. And yeah, I think it is still something that we're not recovered from. It's impacted our relationship so much. And you know, she's like you, Melanie. She's so smart, so outgoing, so naturally good at the things that I'm not good at. We're very opposite in that way. And yeah, I'm bummed because from the years 2014 to almost our late 20s, we didn't really talk because she was doing her own thing, and it was really hard to see her suffer. It was really hard to watch like her weight go up and down. She's a little petite girl. She got down to like 80 pounds, and it was her own journey, and I greatly respect any kind of sobriety ever. Just not. I personally don't struggle with that, but it's just so close to my heart. And yeah, I think it was so painful watching her go through that. There's lasting stuff in me, definitely. Probably the reason why I'm so anxious and worried about so many things. But yeah, it's a long journey. Seeing them suffer, taking care of someone with a disease like that, thinking about how it affects other people, and yeah, I can't remember all the questions, but I think that answers some.
Did you make that
Yes.
question up just for me? This, oh, this feels feels so convenient. Um, ah, okay, so I'm going through it now, actually. And I, I, I shared it with Landon this morning, because I was way too late. I should have, because I was too embarrassed. But I mean, I have anxiety like you, and I have ADD, and I have PTSD from all the abuse and trauma and physical abuse, sexual abuse, trauma, being on my own since I was 14, having kids at the age of 15 and 16. Um, and just so I'd never struggled with depression before, so I really didn't recognize that it was that not me not being able to get able to get out of bed was the sign of depression. Because I am actually working in a new work environment that is very toxic beyond your belief. And it's the targeting isn't necessarily towards me. It actually just started, they just pulled a fast one last week, but it's not really a big deal. Tried to anyways. For 26 years, I've had an impeccable career, but for the last 2 years, I've worked in human resources to try to save the lives of youth from stop entering the juvenile justice system, because I would see those same youth get out of the system after being rehabilitated after a 6-month program. I'd visit the prison and I'd see them there. So there, I found a job, an opportunity to work in human resources for a special program I never knew existed, that we get 75 high school interns, that we get about 300 applicants, and we have to interview everyone. And I always look for the most at-risk, justice impacted, the kids that don't obviously don't come from affluent families and aren't obviously going to college, and obviously wouldn't would probably never be able to have a mentor. And what we do is I get to choose these along with my partner. We choose the 75 interns, and they get an 8-week paid summer internship, always in a career environment. So they get a mentor in the career environment, and we always match them up with their interest and then in the whatever the employer needs, and then making sure that it's in closest proximity to where they live. But I also purchase bus passes, so I try to remove every barrier that would prevent them from being successful. And so for me, had I been given this opportunity, I would have went home to the ghetto, right, after my Monday through Wednesday shift. And yes, I would have had this dysfunction and abusive family, but I would have come back to this positive work like culture where people actually loved and cared about me and were teaching me something, and that there's something better to life, like that would have been my only way to know that life was any different. And so this is huge to me. I just did not know the price that I was going to pay with my mental health in this work environment as a result of it. And so I have been seeing a psychiatrist and a psychologist. So I finally did reach out for help. And I said, this is what I'm struggling with. I'm used to dealing with my anxiety, right? And my PTSD and my ADD and all that. That's nothing. But this new thing of watching people being tormented and targeted and harassed and picked on, and you would see their boss walk by and them shudder. I'm an empath, and it shook me. And to find people crouching and listening in on conversations where I'm stuck in a cubicle and I'm not allowed to sit on the floor, being neurodivergent, I am not allowed to sit on the floor in my cubicle on my lunch break or on my 15-minute break and read a book. I'm not allowed to sit on the floor anywhere. Right. And so I mean, the most craziest thing. So I had to get an ADA accommodation and ask my physician to spill out the most vulnerable things about me, to why I need to be able to have a shield against humans, to be able to reset my neurotransmitters, because 10 hours a day of zero privacy and constant um, looking for things, right? And that I didn't realize what it was doing to me. It happened. I thought I was strong enough. I was overcoming it, right? Like nobody can damage me. Like the shit that's happened to me, there's no way that these people, right? But it did, and I didn't realize it until I had to get a FMLA, an intermittent FMLA is what my clinician suggested, but it got so bad that he said, Melanie, this is insane what you're dealing with. It's not typical. It's like illegal. And I'm going to recommend you take a 30-day leave of FMLA, consecutive absence. And we worked on a new medication for my anxiety. And now I'm on ketamine therapy. And so I'm coming out of it. And I just admitted to Landon, was the first person that of why I wasn't present at that last meeting and why I haven't been my normal self. And so I have a very small circle because I don't have friends. And I just, like you say, I maybe say too much, and I share too much. And so I know that is important, that I must keep my circle very tiny because I don't want to be taken advantage of. And so it's hard, like when your circle's that small, who do you tell, right? So that's what I'm going through. And it's really helping. It really is. It's the ketamine treatments that you do at home, and I've been doing them for a month now. And my anxiety is lessened. I haven't missed a day of work. I'm back to work. I took those 30 days off, and I am healing. I'm in a great place.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
I have thoughts, but I'm not sure how to organize them. I think I think social media, it really does impact the way people relate to others. At least I think so. Um, and there's this like almost like two sides of a coin. It's like I see things online that are like, take the time, say the weird thing, do the thing, like tell them that you have depression, whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's this other side of like, but also be productive, but also still have this aesthetic and also still do this. And oh yeah, and I think one thing that has come up a lot in my friend group and is super hard to talk about with me too is infertility and just experiencing all the feelings that come with that. I'm sure I'll share more about that later, but like, and how like a Google search can add to like targeted ads and all of these things. And like, did you know you could freeze your eggs and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I don't need that right now. But I think it is really isolating. I mean, um, I've been on a medication for over almost 10 years now. Works great. I got really lucky and didn't have to do a bunch of med changes and maybe some small adjustments here and there, but overall it's worked really great. And I think even like I'm a yoga instructor, I try to exercise, I try to eat not like shit and like all these things. But even with all of that, it's still so easy to just fall into this downward spiral of like, what is my life? And like, so speaking from my perspective, it's like, okay, you have the medication, you have all the tools, you have all the things, but there's still this expectation that I don't know is so arbitrary and I don't really know where it's coming from. I mean, I post things on social media too. I'm not saying it's the devil or whatever, but kind of constructing this perspective and mindset of, all right, I might not be living in their reality, but I'm living in mine. It's different from what I see. And taking steps forward looks my way, not their way. And that's all right. Like being in the fitness world, it's like, I don't have a perfect body, but like, oh, to teach the classes that you do, like, you should really look different. You should really like pay attention to that. And I'm like, well, let's change the standards because this is for real people. And it's just so, I mentioned so many things just now, but I think that it's hard to talk about because as much as people say there are no expectations, I think that there are without saying it. And people that do share what's on their heart, it's like, I think they break through more than they realize rather than living in fear. Um, so I think that's a real roundabout way of talking about like why mental health is hard to talk about. Um, and I think like the postpartum depression part, it's not really a part of that a little bit, but like just trying to be comfortable in my own skin and not because of what I can create or the lack of what I can create.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Definitely sensitive and weird. I feel weird talking about it, but I'm sure it'll come up again later.
I, and you can feel safe with me about your infertility journey. I've been a surrogate twice. And
No, oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's so
yeah,
cool. It's
because
wild.
I gave I had the first child at 15 and I was living in poverty and I got pregnant right away again and had the child at 16 and I didn't want to become a statistic and I wanted a better life for my child and I went through adoption agency and everything. Another story, Landon. And so,
Yeah.
really. And so I gave the child up for adoption. And so when he was almost 7 years old, no contact, I got a call from a woman who was 103 and said, "Do you remember me? I'm Grandma. I'm Angel's grandma." And I said, "Yes, of course I remember you." And she said, "Honey, it's God says it's time for you to bring your baby home." And I'm like, this lady is batshit crazy, right? 103. And she said, "My son the dad, he was dying from diabetes, had his legs amputated, and the mom was on drugs. And I found out that they never finalized the adoption here in Nevada. And so I heard that my biological son was bouncing house to house. I got a hold of her, and I had just had Maya, and my husband just had a vasectomy. And because I told him, you don't give up children and keep having children, right? But I got married, and we made Maya out of love, and I did my life. I lived my life right. I was living my life right, and I was blessed. And so I got a hold of the mother that was on drugs who denied it, and I said, "Listen, I already know, and I'm in a position that if I have to hire a lawyer and to terminate, the guardianship, because I know you didn't adopt. I wasn't even on drugs when I gave him to you. I wanted a better life for him, and you promised me that if life were ever got different, that you would reach back out to me, right? That we're in this together, and you violated that trust. However, if you do the right thing and sign your rights back over through a lawyer, I will fly you and him out here and help him get acclimated. And I will allow you to get healthy and to remain in his life, because you're the only mother he's ever known, but I'll never give him back. We can share him. But if you come out here and you continue to be on drugs, and you don't sign the papers, or I have to fight you, then I'm not going to work with you. And she did. She signed the papers through a lawyer. I got him back, and he called me Melanie for 2 years. And so it was like the reverse of losing Isaiah, because we had no bond. And so it was like adopting a child. And so I wanted to do a documentary on it. And so I kept looking for anyone that experienced getting, like, not looking for a child, but just getting a phone call that you're getting this, you should get this child back. And he's my blood. And my husband said no. And I said, I'll never choose a man over my children. And I was willing to have another baby with you, but once we had Maya, she was too much for you. So you had a vasectomy. So my son is coming, and we worked all that out. And so we raised my son, and but I could find nothing but surrogacy kept popping up, like you're saying, the little ads. And so I posted something on that surrogacy site, just trying to find someone that knew somebody that had this happen to them, so I could find out how. I needed resources. I need help. What is it? How is this like? This is not a typical adoption. And clearly he's going to have resentment towards me, and being his birth mother, because that's all I am. We only have blood in common. He doesn't even know who I am. And all that kept coming up was surrogacy. And I met no one that had been through the same thing, but I met all these families that begged me to be their surrogate. And I thought, wow, I'd already known what it was like to give up a child so he could have a better life, and to be able to create a life for someone that wanted my egg, and that to create a life that I was never going to have any more children. Somebody that it costs the same as adoption, and they felt couldn't love a disability out of a child, and it costs the same, and to be able to pick your birth mother. And I thought, for me, it would be an honor. And so some people he even say to me today, how could you have a baby and give the baby up? And my answer is, how could you keep a child that you never wanted, that they wanted long before it existed and was created? That's my answer. And so I did it once, and then I fell in love with this other couple, and they convinced me to do it another time.
That's so fun. That's such a cool story. Yes, you
Crazy. I
absolutely
swear my
should.
book could be a life could be a book.
Yes, yes. I have to get off here soon in the next couple minutes, but yes, oh goodness.
Okay. can I blurt it out? My childhood. My childhood, because the loss of my childhood is what I will always grieve for the rest of my life. And because because of the things that were done to me and being powerless, right? As a child, I only have control over who I become. And thank God for that. And but it was something that was taken from me, and I think that there's always going to be grief around it. Not grief that I can't live with. It's the strength that I built off of it. It's the strength and the courage. You know, I have courage because I made it through that. I'm a fighter. Um, but will I always live with it? Sure. But do I think it's a bad thing? No, because I wouldn't be who I am today without everything that I've gone through. So I'll you just say that.
Yeah, I think that in a similar vein, um, I think that we do heal, people can heal, and it doesn't happen all at once, I don't think. And I do think people carry guilt, not guilt, grief, sorry. Um, and it can turn into different things. It can turn into something really good. I think that with the right tools, it can. I think it can also turn into something really burdensome. And I think it depends on what we've been given. I'm trying to think of an example. I think of like grieving the years that were lost with one of my sisters because of due to addiction. It's like, yeah, I can grieve that. It's a loss of a relationship in these vital years of like 14 to late 20s, but I can grieve that and also rebuild what we have. Like those two things can happen at once. And like, I guess another example is like, yes, I can grieve infertility and also be happy for others that have a new life that they've brought into the world. And I think that it's not easy, definitely messy, and definitely takes time. But I think that's how we grow as people. And I think our hearts get bigger too as we go through those things.
And I think regarding grief onto others, I think that I carry some grief from I wish that could have been a better mother to my own children. I wish that I had the skills and the ability to know how to be a better mother. I think that by not ever telling them what my life was like, um, was my greatest gift in giving them a blank canvas so that they didn't know trauma, but I know it runs in the bloodline. I know it runs in the DNA and it's generations long. However, I still carry grief and of the of how I wish that I could have known the difference between anger or disappointment versus and using those as teaching moments and knowing how to deal with my own emotions in a healthier way. And so I have built such strong relationship with my adult children who are 32 and 31 and Maya that I think that I don't carry that grief because I spend every day making sure that I am the best mother. No, I don't make up for it. There's no making up for it. And they say I wasn't a bad mother at all, but I want to make sure that I show up for them and I am everything that now I know that I wish was there for me. And they just think that I'm the baddest, coolest, most amazing woman in the world. And I tell them all they're all the best parts of me.
That's so amazing. Yes. Oh,
You
that's
do,
very
girl.
encouraging.
Yes, you do. You really like the growth is just astronomical, and just the care that you move with is so different. And I totally agree. Like, you've never been a bad mom. You've always been an amazing mom. But it's so beautiful to just watch you grow into the person that you've always wanted to be and know that you could be, and just moving past that.
Don't
Um,
make me cry.
I know, just hearing you talk about all that, like it's really hard. And also, like Natasha, what you were saying about grieving your sister and the time, without her, I also feel that. Um and with my brother that you were talking about, mom, like me and him were really, really close. And just having him, he's in the prison system right now, and even just having that communication with him is really hard, but I find it to be really important to, I mean, I can't imagine how hard it is for him, and I know how hard it is for me, and it must be harder for him. But just keeping that communication open and knowing that people can change and that you can change, and just keeping that relationship strong, I think is just so important in whatever ways you can that isn't hurtful to yourself.
Yeah, that's well said. Yeah.
Thank
And I
you.
know you're listening.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
No.
Please support. Please
Yeah.
support. Please support.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is such a beautiful
please.
project. It's so
Oh,
wonderful to work
yes.
with all of you. And yeah, like we just are getting into the nitty gritty. And I really appreciate that. Just being able to have real hard conversations with y'all.
Oh, yeah. It's freeing. It's uncomfortable and freeing at the same time. I
Hmm.
think that the book, the Stay book, is such a wonderful story that we bring to life. But I also think in the midst of that, there's so many other things that come to life through the characters and us that are sharing other parts of our lives too. I think that that's equally as an important story to be told.
Hmm.
Yes.